They're not silent. They're calculating. The quietest person in your room right now, they're protecting three things: their energy, their peace, and their truth. If you've ever been called cold, listen closely. Silence isn't a flaw. It's intelligence you're too loud to hear. The currency of words. Here's what people miss. The person who speaks least often knows most. They're not absent. They're listening. Not cold, guarding something sacred. Their silence isn't empty. It's full of everything you ignore. The tone shift, the exhale, the flicker in someone's eye that screams what their mouth won't say. For them, words are currency. And they don't spend on things that don't matter. Think about your own life. How many words did you waste today? On complaints that changed nothing, on small talk that meant nothing, on explanations to people who weren't really listening. Quiet people see this waste, and they refuse to participate. While you're filling silence because it makes you uncomfortable, they're reading the room, cataloging patterns, noticing what your performance is designed to hide. They see the trembling hand while you say "I'm fine," the half-second pause before you answer, the smile that doesn't reach your eyes. They catalog what your words deny, the burden everyone mistakes for shyness. Want to know the real psychology? Their silence isn't simplicity, it's complexity you can't handle. Before they speak, they've already run 12 simulations. Who's listening? What are they really asking? How will this land? What's the subtext? What are they not saying? Their brain doesn't just process words, it analyzes ecosystems of meaning. This isn't overthinking. This is emotional intelligence in motion, and here's what breaks them. They experience emotions deeper than you do, longer, louder inside. Our world rewards volume, not depth. We promote whoever talks most in meetings, not who understands most. We give likes to whoever posts most frequently, not most thoughtfully. We've built a civilization that mistakes noise for value, quantity for quality, performance for substance. But quiet people? They see through the charade. They know truth doesn't need amplification. Wisdom doesn't require repetition. Real intelligence whispers. When they speak, rooms shift. Here's what loud people fear. When quiet people finally talk, everyone listens. That's not coincidence. That's respect earned through restraint. Silence builds presence. Presence builds gravity. Gravity bends rooms. Think about the last time someone truly quiet spoke up in a group. The conversation paused, heads turned, because scarcity creates value. They are exceptional observers, not because they're naturally gifted, but because they had to be. They learned early. Watch first, speak later, trust slowly. They notice patterns you miss. The colleague who takes credit in public but hides during problems. The friend who trauma dumps but never asks how you are. The partner who says they're listening but is already formulating their response. This is pattern recognition, not judgment. When you speak less, your mind sharpens. You start seeing what words conceal. Most people listen to respond. They're loading their next sentence while you're still talking, waiting for their turn to perform. But quiet people listen to understand, to absorb, to actually know what you mean, not just what you're saying. This creates a different quality of connection, one that feels rare because it is rare. The energy economics nobody talks about. Here's the part extroverts never understand. Silence is a shield against internal chaos. Their mind isn't quiet. It's an orchestra, 100 instruments playing simultaneously, trying to find harmony before creating sound. While you're broadcasting every thought, they're conducting a symphony inside, attempting to make sense of complexity before externalizing it. This is high introversion, but that term is too simple for what's actually happening. It's energy economics. Imagine carrying a battery that drains 3 times faster than everyone else's. That's social interaction for them. Not because it's unpleasant, but because they're processing on multiple levels simultaneously. Your words, your tone, your body language, your energy, the room's mood, their own reactions to all of it. It's exhausting in ways talkers never experience. So they retreat, not from rudeness, from necessity. They recharge in solitude because people cost them energy in ways extroverts cannot comprehend. Every conversation is an investment. Every social interaction requires emotional expenditure. They choose words like artists, choose colors, carefully, purposefully, with intention. Solitude isn't loneliness for them, it's restoration. where they process the emotional data they've collected, where they remember who they are beneath everyone else's noise. Quality over quantity isn't preference, it's survival. The childhood wound that became wisdom. Let's go where most psychology content won't. Sometimes silence starts as survival. Speaking up led to rejection. Being enthusiastic led to ridicule. Showing excitement led to judgment. They learned expressing yourself equals pain, so they stopped expressing. A teacher said stop being so sensitive when they cried at a sad story. A parent said, why can't you be more like your sibling who was louder, easier, less complicated? Friends laughed when they shared something they cared about deeply. The message was clear. Your natural way of being isn't welcome here. This is adaptive silence, a nervous system that learned speaking less equals staying safer. But here's the transformation people miss. That wound became their superpower. The necessity to observe became exceptional perception. Their sensitivity, once criticized, became their greatest strength. They see emotional dynamics others are blind to because they had to develop that skill to survive. The pain that made them quiet also made them wise. Myths that need to die. Let's kill some lies. Myth: quiet people are shy. Reality: they're selective. There's a difference between fear and standards. Myth: they don't like people. Reality: they don't like performing for people. They hate shallow versions of connection. Myth: they're boring. Reality: small talk is boring. They skip the tutorial and go straight to the real game. Myth: they need to come out of their shell. Reality: they're not hiding. You're just not worth the energy of full expression yet. Myth: silence means agreement. Reality: sometimes it means they're 20 steps ahead in the argument and have already seen how pointless it is. Society sells you a lie. Volume equals value. Whoever speaks up in meetings gets promoted. Whoever posts most gets followers. Whoever charms fastest gets dates. But quiet people know the truth. Noise is often compensation for having nothing substantial to say. The superpowers, hidden in stillness. Here's what they possess that you don't. The ability to think before reacting. Most people are stimulus response machines. Something happens, they react immediately. Words fly out unfiltered. Emotions control their mouth. But quiet people have self-regulation you can't comprehend. They can feel anger without weaponizing it. Experience hurt without attacking with it. Notice injustice without becoming it. That's not suppression, that's mastery. Consider the pattern. Einstein spent hours in contemplative silence. Maya Angelou rented hotel rooms just to sit alone and think. Steve Jobs practiced meditation as a path to innovation. Why? Because silence births insight. Creativity blooms in stillness. Breakthrough ideas don't come from brainstorming sessions where everyone talks over each other. They come from quiet moments of deep reflection. There's science here. Research from the University of Helsinki shows that introverted and quiet individuals have higher brain activity in regions associated with empathy and self-reflection. Their silence isn't absence, it's processing. While you externalize thoughts immediately, they're running sophisticated internal algorithms, connecting dots, finding patterns, generating insights that only emerge from depth. The invisible weight they carry. But this gift has a cost. They're emotional sponges. They absorb stress, sadness, energy from everyone around them. They feel the room's mood before anyone speaks. They sense tension, dishonesty, pain that others overlook completely. Walk into a party, most people feel excitement. Quiet people feel the host's anxiety about everything being perfect, the couple in the corner having a silent argument, the friend who's laughing too loud because they're actually depressed. They carry invisible weight, not because they choose to, but because they can't turn off the reception. This is why they disappear sometimes, why they cancel plans last minute, why they need a day to recover from social events others found relaxing. They're not being flaky, they're detoxifying from everyone else's emotional residue. Solitude isn't escape, it's healing. The only way to return to their baseline, to remember who they are beneath all that accumulated weight. The quality they offer that you can't find elsewhere. They don't do shallow. Ever notice quiet people are terrible at small talk? Weather and weekend plans feel like torture when there are universes to explore in conversation. But meaning, soul-level connection, they're exceptional. When they love, It's not surface-level affection. It's I see your darkness, and I'm not scared depth. When they commit to friendship, it's not convenience-based. It's I'll show up at 3 in the morning if you need me loyalty. Their relationships are fewer but deeper. They'd rather have 3 people who truly know them than 300 acquaintances who don't. This isn't elitism, it's energetic reality. They cannot sustain surface-level connection without feeling drained and inauthentic. So they choose carefully. I invest deeply. Show up fully for people who've earned access to their inner world. Most people share their thoughts immediately, without filtration. Verbal diarrhea as a lifestyle. But quiet people treat their revelations like gifts. When they finally share something personal, they've turned it over in their mind for weeks, examined it from every angle, decided you're trustworthy enough to receive it. This can look like coldness. It's actually profound respect for themselves and for the relationship. Red flags they notice that you miss. Want to know what they see while you're being charmed. Someone who never asks questions. It means they're not curious about you. They're performing their pre-written script, waiting for applause. Someone who interrupts to relate, not understand. It means every conversation is just a waiting room for their story. You're not being heard, you're being used as a springboard. Someone who's louder when they're wrong. It means they weaponize confidence to hide incompetence. Volume as a substitute for being right. Someone who mistakes your silence for permission to keep talking. It means they're so uncomfortable with space, they'll fill it with anything, even garbage. Someone whose words and actions don't align. Most people miss this because they listen to what's said. Quiet people watch what's done. They see manipulation you call charisma, control you call care, possessiveness you call love. They're not cynical, they're experienced. The paradox that breaks them. Here's the contradiction at their core. They desperately want connection but fear misunderstanding. Want to be seen but not scrutinized. Crave intimacy but need distance. They withdraw not because they don't care, but because they care too violent. When they love, it consumes them. When they hurt, it drowns them. When they connect, they merge completely. So they protect themselves through distance. Not because they're cold, but because they're terrified of how deeply they feel everything. Think about it. The quiet person in your life who seems detached, they're probably feeling more intensely than everyone else combined. They've just learned that showing it leads to being called too much or too sensitive. So they internalized the hurt, made silence their armor. But armor gets heavy, especially when what you really want is to be held, not protected. When silence becomes prison instead of power, let's be honest about the shadow side. Sometimes silence shifts from strength to limitation. When it's chosen powerful, when it's fear-based prison. For some, it becomes a control mechanism, a way to avoid vulnerability because speaking reveals too much, exposes complexity, makes them targets for judgment or rejection. The question they must ask, am I quiet because I'm processing or because I'm afraid? Am I choosing silence, or is silence choosing me? This matters because silence can be sanctuary or cage, depending on whether it's empowered or defensive. The danger, when they want to speak but can't. When the fear of being misunderstood becomes bigger than the desire to be known. When silence stops being protection and starts being isolation. That's when they need to push, to risk, to speak even when it's uncomfortable, because growth lives outside the comfort zone. Even for people whose comfort zone is silence. What they learn that loud people never do. Through all this stillness, they discover truths talkers miss. Not everything needs to be said to be understood. Presence speaks louder than words. Communication happens on multiple levels. A look, a gesture, shared silence, often communicates more than 1,000 words. They've mastered the unspoken language of human connection, the comfort of sitting together, without filling every moment with chatter. The power of showing up without needing to perform. The depth of understanding that requires no explanation. This is mastery that talkers rarely achieve because they're too busy broadcasting to receive. Life, for them, is a symphony of emotions. This makes them both wise and fragile, gifted and burdened, powerful and vulnerable. They understand what philosophers spend careers trying to articulate. That the most profound experiences in life are unspeakable, that some moments are too sacred for words. That silence can hold more truth than any sentence ever could. The role they play that society needs. They are grounding forces in a chaotic world. While everyone's screaming for attention, they offer calm. While the world promotes constant stimulation, they model stillness. While society rewards performance, they demonstrate that being is enough. Think about who you turn to in crisis. It's never the loudest person. It's the one who can hold space for your pain without trying to fix it immediately, without filling your silence with platitudes, without making your moment about them. That's the gift quiet people offer. They can sit with discomfort, with complexity, with the messy truth of being human. They don't perform empathy. They embody it. They don't announce wisdom. They live it. They don't demand attention. They earn respect. In a world that constantly screams for notice, they prove that true influence whispers, that real power doesn't need volume, that the most profound truths are spoken softest. The society that punishes what it needs most. Here's the irony that should make you angry. We need quiet people desperately, but we punish them constantly. Schools reward kids who raise their hands most, not those who think deepest. Workplaces promote employees who dominate meetings, not those who generate the best ideas in reflection. Dating culture favors whoever's most charming immediately, not whose depth reveals itself slowly. Social media algorithms boost whoever posts most frequently, not whose thoughts are most valuable. We've built systems that select for noise and filter out depth. Then we wonder why everything feels shallow, why conversations feel empty, why connections feel disposable, why wisdom feels rare. It's because we exiled the people who carried it. Your choice right now. So here's what happens next. You're at a crossroads. If you're quiet, you have a decision. Keep apologizing for your silence, or make the world earn your word. Keep explaining yourself to people who don't listen, or save your depth for those who do. Keep performing to fit in, or start protecting your peace without guilt. The loud world doesn't need more noise. It needs your silence to remind it that not everything valuable scream. If you're loud, you also have a choice. Keep mistaking quiet people for weak ones, or start recognizing strength in restraint. Keep filling every silence because it makes you uncomfortable, or get comfortable with depth that doesn't announce itself. Keep rewarding whoever talks most, or start valuing whoever understands most. Your silence isn't empty. It's full of everything they're too loud to hear. You don't fear being alone. You fear being drained by people who don't deserve access. Your quietness isn't a problem to fix. It's a frequency most people aren't evolved enough to receive yet. Words can explain thoughts, but only silence reveals truth. The truth that some things are too important for casual conversation, that depth cannot be rushed, that the most significant moments in life happen in spaces between words in the held gaze, the understood silence, the presence that needs no explanation. Stay exactly who you are. Let the world slow down to your frequency, instead of speeding up to its frenzy. Your silence is not a void to be filled. It's fullness to be honored. You are the pause that makes the music meaningful, the breath between notes that gives the song its power, the space that allows sound to exist. In a world drowning in noise, your quiet isn't just rare. It's revolutionary. It's necessary. It's exactly what we need but don't deserve yet. So be still. Be quiet. Be unapologetically yourself. The world will adjust. It always does for people who refuse to shrink. Your silence is your power. Don't ever let them convince you it's your flaw.